Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Islamic Calling podcast. So today I'm back with Sadhguru. It's been a while since I made my last video on Sadhguru, and I just saw one of his videos the other day, and it just pissed me off. So in the video, he basically defends cannibalism.
Nani?
So in case you guys don't know, in Hinduism, there's this sect called the Aghoris, and they're notorious for many different things. More specifically, they're notorious for eating human flesh.
You're eating human meat.
Okay? And obviously, they don't eat like actual live human flesh. They eat kind of like a dead human flesh. Okay? I mean, it is absolutely disgusting, but Sadhguru is basically promoting that. And he's not condemning this at all. He says that this is apparently a valid path to spiritualism.
Let's try and unpack that for a second. Let's try and de-emotionalize this for a second. Let's try and intellectualize this for a second. Let's try and rationalize this for a second.
I don't know on what planet this is a valid path to spiritualism, but let's see what he says and then I'll make a response.
Is there an Aghori path? Definitely there is. Still a very active spiritual process.
Okay, which part of eating a dead human flesh is a spiritual process? I don't know, because how is that a spiritual process? That sounds like cannibalism. What you're calling a spiritual process is cannibalism. Yeah, so basically it can have a lot of harmful effects, especially if you eat like the brain. It can cause a lot of different type of diseases, and especially because, and it's not just that they just eat like human flesh, they also eat their own urine. They all eat their own urine. They eat raw chicken, and they even like eat raw like blood. They constantly smoke weed and take like other type of intoxicants. They live in the most disgusting areas. And so this is not to say that like these people are like some kind of weird alien or whatever, but the lifestyle that they chose is absolutely disgusting, and there's no two ways about it. They're not only killing their own spirituality, they're killing it for other people as well.
So, is there an Aghori path? Definitely there is. Still a very active spiritual process. People use various substances to do many different things. A recently dead body has certain possibilities. So certain systems use that.
So, what they are doing is, there is still prana in the body that is dead. So they are sitting there. If you go there to Manikarnik and Harishchandra Ghat, Aghoris will be sitting there watching everybody who will come. They inquire, how old is this person, how did he die? That's why some of them who don't want that to be known, they're covering with plastic sheets, where people cannot see. How old is the person? They won't say, how old was the person? But the Aghoris want to know. If it's a young person, somebody who was vibrant life and for some reason he died, they want that kind. When that happens, they want to do work there. They want to make use of the energy that's released. Once the body begins to burn, this prana has to exit immediately. When that exits, they want to make use of that life energy to do something with themselves. If you do not know the science of that, you cannot just think it's all bizarre. Yes, it's an extreme way of doing things. It is not for everybody.
So he's literally like defending it. He's literally defending cannibalism. Okay, so basically he says that if you don't know the science of it, then don't say that it's bizarre, right? Which is an absurd argument. I mean, I don't need to like study law of criminology or have a PhD in criminology to know that murder is wrong. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us so that we can respect and elevate ourselves beyond the animals, right? Because we're not like the animals. I mean, if we just eat ourselves, then what's the difference between us and dogs, right? Or us and like any other animal in the jungle, right? And that's just not who we are, and that's not who we should be, right?
Why should somebody choose such a way? Because they don't see life as good and bad. They just see life as a possibility towards the ultimate. They don't care how. They don't care how they get there.
Okay, so I need to give you guys some context. So basically, what the Aghoris believe is that if you kind of like do all this type of quote-unquote spiritual disgusting practices, you can basically achieve moksha, right? So moksha is a concept in Hinduism, where they believe that you know how they believe that the concept of reincarnation, where people after they die, they basically are reborn as something else, right? So it's like a whole cycle that's been going on for like an infinity. And so moksha is the idea is that when they're released from this cycle, when they achieve like pure spirituality, they are released and they can go to heaven, basically, or something along that line. But there are different like interpretation of this. Obviously it's more complex than that, but that's basically the gist of it, right? So, and that's what he's talking about. So they believe that by doing all this, they can be one with like with their supposed God or Brahma or whatever, or Shiva or whatever, and they can be one with him, and like they can go to heaven, right? They can go to heaven. That's what they think. Now, what's interesting is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala actually refutes this point in the Quran. He says,
أَمْ خَلَقُوا السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ بل لا يوقنون أم عندهم خزائن ربك أم هم المسيطرون أم لهم سلم يستمعون فيه فليأت مستمعهم بسلطان مبين.
Or have they stairway upon which they listen? Then let their listener produce a clear authority. You can read about this in Quran 52:38. In explaining this verse, Ibn Kathir says the following, meaning, do they have a stairway to heaven, to the place where the angels are? Then let their listener produce some manifest proof, meaning, let their listener produce evidence to the truth of their actions and statement. They will never be able to do so, and therefore they have nothing and have no evidence for their stance. So basically what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying here is basically his response to pagans, right? So at the time, pagans and other disbelievers would often make a lot of claims, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala kind of challenges them in these subsequent verses, and he says that, well, were they created from nothing? Did they create themselves? Do they have like access to like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's like treasures? Do they know what the angels are saying? So basically his point here is that they don't have access to the knowledge that he has access to, okay? So anything that they do is pure speculation. So he's asking them, he's challenging them that if you can hear what the angels are saying in the heavens, or if you have knowledge of the unseen, then produce evidence for it, okay? I mean, if you really know what is true and what is false, then prove it. That's basically his point. This refutes this whole nonsense. So they believe that this is the way they can go to heaven. So the question is, how do they know that? Where's the evidence for this, right? Where did Shiva supposedly said that by eating like dead human flesh, you can go to heaven? Where's that in the Vedas? Nowhere. They don't even have any type of like oral chain that they can use to prove that this is something they heard from like Shiva or whatever. There's nothing. This is just dumb practice that's been going on for centuries, and these poor people, that without questioning this method, they're following it. And this is exactly what the pagans at the time of the Prophet used to do. They used to follow like their forefathers, and they would just do weird practices without ever questioning them, right? And even if it does have some kind of justification in their book, where is the evidence that it is the word of Allah, or it is the word of God? There's no evidence for any of this. And I've made videos where I've shown many contradictions in the Vedas, which shows that it's more likely it's not the word of God. And that's the whole point.
Crude technology. If you want to look at all systems of spirituality as a technology, it's a very crude technology, but still a technology. It works, but very crude. See now, you want to find water. You can dig a well with your bare hands, or you can use a crowbar and a shovel and dig. Or you can use some other kind of more sophisticated augers or whatever and dig. Or you can use a drilling machine and dig. Today you can actually do it in laser. It's expensive, so nobody does it. Otherwise, with laser you could just dig a well. Same well, same water, but the way you do it is different. So if you do it with your bare hands, by the time you drink water, you will neither have nails nor skin left upon your hands, but you don't care because you're that thirsty. You're that thirsty.
Okay, so basically his point here is that they really want to go to heaven, or they really want to achieve moksha, and so they're trying really hard, right? But the thing is that there is a right and true way to do something, and there's a wrong and a very false way of doing something, right? Like obviously everyone wants to go to heaven, right? Like who doesn't? But that doesn't mean that you can just do whatever you want and go to heaven. Like for example, if I think that I can paint the sky red with a painting, right? And I go out there and I use a painting to try and paint the sky. Would the sky ever be red from being blue to red? No. So you can try all day long. That's not going to do anything, right? Because your method is false, okay? You cannot use a false method to achieve anything, okay? So when you try to achieve something, you have to use the right method, okay? Yeah, and this is why this is a non-sequitur fallacy. I mean, just because they think that they can achieve moksha or they can go to heaven using this method doesn't necessarily mean that they can achieve moksha or go to heaven using this method.
But the problem with that kind of thing is your hands may wear out before you reach water. People have reached, not that they have not. With bare hands, people have dug wells and found water. But if you don't have strong enough hands, they may just wear out to the bone before you get to the water. And after your skin peels off, you may not have the strength to dig anymore. So those are kind of paths. If 1,000 people seriously take it on, one may make it, others will get lost. So these paths are generally taken more than spiritual dimension to acquire occult powers. That's why they go on that path.
And that's the real reason why they do this. Which is that they practice magic, they practice black magic, and they want to get occult powers, and that's why they do this, okay? If they are trying to do this to get some kind of like occult power or superpower or whatever, they're not doing a very good job of it. Because I mean, like, I've never heard of any kind of like Aghori who's become like a billionaire like Elon Musk using their occult powers. That has never happened. I mean, if that was the case, that they can really get powers this way, then trust me, they'll be running the world. But that hasn't happened yet, okay? I mean, they definitely wouldn't be in some back alley water of like India or in the slums of India eating like dead human flesh. They'll be like running the world. But again, that hasn't happened. So it's very unlikely that this stuff works. And even if it does work, for the sake of argument, doesn't mean that you should do it, right? Because, I mean, think about it this way. Imagine that you want respect, right? You want respect in the school, right? In your school, you want respect. Now, there's two ways to get respect. One is that you become a really good student and you constantly get good results and you help your fellow schoolmates, and that way you get respect, right? Another way is that you become a bully and you bully everybody and make them fear you, and that's how you get respect. Now, both of these ways are a valid way to get respect, but does it mean that you should like bully people, or does it mean that they're both the same? No. Or does it mean that you should bully people to get respect? No. When it comes to getting respect, obviously there's a right way and then there's a wrong way. The right way is that you should study hard and get people's respect that way, because then there's no cost. But if you bully people, the people you're bullying will hate you, okay? And they're gonna grow up with resentment. And eventually you're gonna get caught and get yourself in trouble, right? So it's not worth it. Same thing with this type of occult powers. Sure, you can like, if this is even real, which is not, but let's say for the sake of argument, it is. Even then, like, it's not worth it. Like, what are you gonna do with that power? Like, I mean, like, you're not. It's not like you're gonna become like Superman all of a sudden, because clearly it's not. It doesn't work that much. But even if it did, you're doing it at the cost of your own soul. So in Islam, obviously, the use of magic is haram. For example, there's a hadith, there's a Quran verse which says, and they followed what the devils had recited during the reign of Solomon. It was not Solomon who disbelieved, but the devils disbelieved, teaching people magic, and that which was revealed to the two angels at Babylon, Harut and Marut. But they, the two angels, did not teach anyone unless they say, we are a trial, so do not disbelieve by practicing magic. And yet they learn from them that by which they cause a separation between a man and his wife. But they do not harm anyone through it except by permission of Allah. And they, i.e. people, learn what harms them and does not benefit them. But they, children of Israel, certainly knew that whoever purchased it, magic, would not have in the hereafter any share. And wretched is that for which they sold themselves, if they only knew. You can read about this in Quran 2:108. So basically what the verse is saying, in Islam we believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down two angels called Harut and Marut. And this is a long time ago. And these two angels taught people magic. But there is a condition, which is that if you teach you magic, you're not going to heaven. Okay? That was one of the conditions of this magic. But people still bought it because they didn't care. They wanted, they bought this world in exchange for the next one. Okay? And that was a mistake, because Allah literally said that was wretched, right? That was a mistake. So any type of magic is a test for human beings. Okay? Sure, you can use them to get some small benefit, but at what cost? You're losing your own soul. You're going to hellfire. And trust me, you don't want to go to hellfire. And that's the cost. For example, there's a hadith where the Prophet said, verily, the religion is easy and no one burdens himself in religion but that it overwhelms him. Follow the right course, seek closeness to Allah, give glad tidings, and seek help for worship in the morning and evening and a part of the night. You can read about this in Sahih Bukhari 39. So basically what the Prophet is saying is that our religion, Islam, is easy. Okay? It's easy. That's not to say it can be difficult, but it's not overwhelming. Okay? But when you hear things like this, you can clearly see these things are overwhelming. People cannot possibly be expected to follow this type of path. And why would God ask that of you anyway? I mean, think about it this way, right? Imagine, again, I go back to the same analogy of the mother. What is more likely to have come from your mother, right? That she would like give you foods that is harmful for you. She would tell you to like drink alcohol, harm yourself, and all this other kind of stuff. Or will she tell you to like take care of yourself, do not harm yourself, study hard, and things that will benefit you, right? Obviously, she will tell you things that will benefit you and that will keep you in the right path instead of telling you to harm yourself. So both of these two things, which one is more likely to be, guidance from your mother? Obviously, the second one, right? Where she's telling you to do good things, to take care of yourself, and not where she's telling you to harm yourself. Same thing here. Same example with the mother. Obviously, just like a mother wouldn't tell you to do things that will harm you, God would also not tell you to do do things that would harm you. It's more likely he would tell you to do things that would benefit you, right? That will keep you safe. And that's exactly what Islam teaches. And Islam tells you to stay away from this thing, which is why Islam is more likely to be the truth and guidance from the Creator himself. And so if any Aghoris are watching, or any Hindus who are interested by the Aghori culture are watching, then I invite you guys to embrace Islam, or at least learn about Islam, what Islam teaches, what this beautiful religion teaches. I invite you to become a Muslim and just look into it, because you can clearly see this path of the Aghoris is false, it's harmful, it's dangerous. If you guys like the video, then don't forget to like, share, subscribe. And if you guys want to support me, then please consider supporting me on Patreon. It would mean a lot to me and the channel. And so yeah, with this I want to end this video. Thank you guys for watching. Jazakallah khairan. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.